Welcome to TCA's Boxing Update, which revived the game. Nothing changed. Well, that's pretty much how it always works, huh? Yeah, in case you haven't been paying attention on the channel, TCA has been in a decline on here and on the platform itself because nobody gives a shit. But despite that, I still feel sort of obligated to cover the updates, so here we are. Just for reference, I had little to nothing to do with this one. I soft quit the design team, I want to say a week or two ago, and I've talked in the design chat maybe twice since then. So I'm going to be talking about some of the problems in the updates here, and if you had problems, don't come to me because I had basically nothing to do with them. I'm not going to be going through every single tiny little change they've done like I have in the past. I'm just going to cover what's important for those of you who do play. I do overall think that the update was good. It just had, well, a laundry list of problems that they probably should have seen coming before putting this out, but evidently didn't. So that's what we're here to talk about. The first thing that I was questioning if I would even bother talking about at all is 2v2s is here. I've been saying for ages that putting this game mode out would accomplish nothing because the game has no players. So finding games of 2v2s is going to be borderline impossible and the mode will be dead in like 3 weeks. 3 weeks is generous because I don't actually think this is going to last a week if things keep up at the current pace. That being said, I haven't played the game mode, so I don't know if it works or not. I know that when I tested it, it didn't work at all, but that was a long time ago. So I hope that they sorted that stuff out before they finished the game mode. The best part about this update is the deflection mechanic, which is a good thing, so I'm gonna take credit for it. No, I am not the only one who suggested this, but I was a heavy supporter and consistently pushed for it. It basically acts just like a parry would normally, but it doesn't stun the person who used the parryable move. So in other words, if you went to go use a beatdown, for example, and someone parried it correctly, instead of the person who used the beatdown getting stunned for 30 years and totally screwed, they would instead just get stunned for, well, no time, and they'd have to wait the end lag of the move. So now punish windows can be adjusted on certain moves based on their end lags rather than a set amount of time based on when you get parried. Naturally, parryable moves still exist. That example I used was not true. There are no parryable beatdowns right now at the very least. But some moves like Speed Blitz for Star Platinum of the World, Reality Overwrite for the World Over Heaven, Bomb Plant for Killer Queen, etc. are now deflection moves rather than parryable moves, which will make them a lot less risky to throw out, and if you're playing those stands, you can actually use those moves instead of just sort of writing them off because if you use it, it's a massive risk. Continuing on the trend of positives, then we can talk about the map. I'm gonna show you something that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Whoa. That's right. They finally took my advice and removed all of those stupid invisible walls off the sides of the map. Hot damn. Now, the invisible walls weren't all that went away. There were a bunch of changes to the map, so many that I probably can't cover all of them here. There are a few new buildings in the map. Several of the buildings that were in the map already got remodeled, and generally speaking, this should have been a big W for everyone involved, but unfortunately I've gotten several reports that the performance of the map was really bad. I can't tell you how bad it was because playing on a private server with just me and it works just fine on my monster computer. But people on mobile and lower end computers were probably having trouble, and that's one of the big things that TCA has always struggled with, is performance. So the map making performance worse, yeah, that's a problem. There was one other major issue with the map that I noticed, and I think someone messaged us in the tester chat and just got ignored. So sorry to whoever that is that you got ignored, but you're right. And that's that for some ungodly reason, you can sit on these benches, and the bench keybind to sit down is E. Now, if you've played these games, you'll know that there's another keybind that's on E. Yeah, your barrage. That means that if someone barrages you and then runs over to these benches, you can't barrage them. It just adds this really awkward moment of gameplay where if you're over there and you're trying to press E, you might sit down, you might not, and it's just like, why does this even exist? What Who's this for? Who's going around and was like, man, I really hope I can sit on the benches? What? And it's even better because there are still benches in the game that you can't sit on. So why can you sit on these benches? I don't know. You shouldn't be able to sit on the benches because there's just no point, and all it serves to do is derail gameplay. UI and skill trees got a general update. They look better for the most part. I think I like everything except for the cooldown indicators, which I don't think are worse. I just kind of preferred the old one, but it is what it is. And with all of those positive things finishing up, now we start to move into the negatives or slightly negatives. And I want to start with some of the balance changes because oh man. I'm not going to go over all the balance changes. I already said this, but one balance change that just hurts my brain. It hurts my brain so hard because I just don't know who made this decision, why did they make this decision, and why did they completely ignore me when I explained why this was a bad idea before. I don't have a goddamn clue. The world. It sucks. It's fucking garbage. My favorite stand, and it's shit now. And you wanna know why it's shit? Because some moron decided, hey, let's make it so that the stun is reduced on your knives. I don't know if you guys know this on the TCA development team, but in neutral, the world has 2 moves that you can use. 2 of them! And you just nerfed one! Why? The world went from being one of the best stands in the game to borderline fucking garbage because the stun reduction on the knives means that your knives no longer true combo into kick barrage, the only other move that you have in neutral, and I got news for you guys. Knives are easily reactable. They take a long time to come out. So people just block them 80% of the time anyway, and now if you land them, you barely get shit. If you wanted to nerf the world, which I don't even see why you would need to do that in the first place, because it's not like it was comically overpowered or something, there were a bajillion ways that you could have done that without completely butchering the stand, but you completely butchered the stand. So, good job, I guess. This hurts my brain. The only assumption that I can take here is that maybe this was reduced because they wanted to make sure that it didn't true combo into boxing's new move, because maybe that would be too broken, but I don't think that boxing's new move would have true comboed with the stun where it was. I could be wrong, but even if I'm not wrong and that's why they did it, you just butchered an entire stand because of one spec that was added. What the fuck? I don't know. I really don't have a clue. Got nothing. And then the last thing that we want to talk about is boxing. I saved it until the end because it's the headliner thing, and that's how you get people to watch through the whole video. Heh, gotcha. Let's be real, if you're watching a TCA video, you probably would have watched this far anyway, so, sorry about that. Anyways, boxing. It's broken. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking with some of these things on here. Most notably, the fact that this ghost jab thing goes through your block. Who, why, just brain machine broke. You, really? Listen, I get it, guys. Boxing doesn't have a block break, so we need to make it so it has some way of dealing with block. Well, you just added the deflection mechanic and made it so that everybody's M2 is now a deflect instead of a parryable move. Literally every stand has a sort of true block break now, or you could have chosen to make it so that way that second hit of uppercut, which also goes through block, was the other thing that goes through block, or even just the first hit of uppercut, because that has some windup. But you chose the near instant move. Why? Ghost jab is almost instant and has basically no cooldown. So if you're M1ing someone and they block like a normal person, you hit the ghost jab button and they're not blocking anymore and you get to hit them a bit more. If they're smart and they try to dash away, you hit them anyway because the move is fast as shit. Then you walk 3 steps and you start attacking them again. The only way that you can deal with it is if you're also using boxing, because then you have the new little invincibility dash thing, and that's basically the only way out of here. I guess that or a counter, but not every stand has one of those. Point being, you should just be able to block the ghost jab. I don't know why they thought that making this so that way you could go through block was a good idea, but it wasn't a good one. And yeah, It's so easy to see this playing just a few games of 1v1s. And then the other extremely questionable part of the stand is, of course, the dash itself. I had my reservations about this passive when it was announced a long time ago, and I was like, this is probably going to need a boatload of balancing, otherwise it's going to be overpowered. It didn't get a boatload of balancing, and I think it's overpowered. Basically, the way that the dash works is that if you do a side dash, it shortens your dash and gives you iframes, and if you manage to iframe someone's move, it stuns them for a second. The problem is that it shares the exact same cooldown as your dash does, and your dash only has like a 5-second cooldown. This move acts sort of like a pseudo counter that you can use every 5 seconds. Start losing an M1 trade? Dash to the left. Guess what? Now you're M1ing them. They try to use an untrue combo string with a SPEC block break? Dash to the left. When you pair the dash with the ghost jab, that's where the problems really start to crop up. Whether you dodge something or not, if you dash and then just immediately press ghost jab, if you dash out of the way of someone's attack, you'll hit them with the ghost jab because it's fast as shit and they can't block it. And if you directly dodge someone's attack, they get stunned and you hit them with it anyway because they can't block it. So it's basically you dash and use ghost jab and it's a win like 99% of the time. If you want to get really fancy, you can go ahead and use the dash with the Solar Perplexes move or whatever the hell it's called, and then potentially get a beatdown off of it. Then they can block it because, you know, some of this stuff was balanced. But if you just want free damage, dash, ghost jab, M1 every single time on like a 5-second cooldown. The dash should have had a longer cooldown tied to it. They should have just made it so that way when you do a side dash, it has a longer cooldown. That's what should have happened. It didn't. Here we are. Other than that, boxing is pretty fun. I really like the idea of the crumpling moves, where if you hit them with it, they are stunned, but they'll ragdoll after a few seconds, so if you don't hit them with another move, then you're not going to get anything off of it. And it also makes it fun because we finally have a spec that you can use beatdowns with after confirming a move, which is really handy. I did notice that I'm pretty sure you can't barrage during the crumple, which I'm not so sure that's a good idea, because I got hit with some ridiculous combos that did way too much damage off of literally one mistake that wasn't a block break, which again is just crazy and almost always was off of some nonsense with the dash, so yeah, we'll see. Anyways, I don't think I have much else to say here. The boxing update, it's alright. It's nothing game-changing, it's not going to revive the game, and hopefully we'll get something like that soon, but that's the end of that. If you enjoyed the video, you got something out of it, you can leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't, don't. And with all that being said, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time.